Hey everybody, I'm back. Sorry it's been a little bit, had a lot going on, a lot of family stuff to get taken care of. Anyways, I've got today going through and doing the water pump install on the LS 6-liter build we're doing, the 408 Strugger setup. Right now, what I did is I had to wait for some more bolts to come in. First I went through and got the ARP bolts for the water pump. Pretty much trying to do ARP everything on this motor anywhere and everywhere I can, because as anybody that's used them before knows, it's a hell of a fastener. So anyways, I'm going through and just applying their moly lube underneath the head of the bolt or the button. That way, whenever the washer comes up, it has the ability to still rotate and give you that torque spec that you're looking for. I've looked up everything so far, and from what I was able to find, you're looking at roughly 11 pounds initial torque spec on the bolts, and then you're also looking at a 22 pound second pass on the bolts. So first thing I've got is I've got a brand new AC Delco water pump. I know there's some bigger, other fancier ones, etc., that you can go with. However, I decided to go this route because, one, I wanted to try to keep the car as close to original stock-ish per se as possible, but at the same time I wanted to still have the functionality and still have good water flow. I intend down the road probably to go to a much higher volume water pump, but in the time being, or for the time being, excuse me, this is what I'm going to go with. So I'm also running some Brian Tooley water pump gaskets. So what I always found to be the easiest way to go whenever you're trying to install these right here is if you actually, if I can find the second one I had, if you go through and get these lined up prior to trying to do your initial install. So for instance, how I did it on here, once I made sure I had the correct mating surface to where it would go on there. And speaking of the mating surface, you want to make sure that you've got a clean mating surface. Just that way, everything's going to line up correctly. So once I do that, I've got one bolt through here, and then I'll just repeat the process on the other side and take another one of our bolts and put it through there. What this does for me is it allows it to hold these gaskets in place. So even if you go and you start trying to bolt this up, which you'll see here in a second, it may try to move on me a little bit. It still gives me the ability to kind of get the initial couple threads in here to kind of get it going, and then once I do that, then I'm able to go through and start working the other ones in. You just want to make sure whenever you're doing this that of course that the gasket didn't move on you. In the event that it did, just make sure that you've got it lined up correctly, and just kind of like I'm having to do on this side over here, you want to kind of pull it out a little bit and make sure that you've got it lined up where you need it at. So I've got, let's see, this right here, if I can get this top one started. All right, let's see. And I've got, let's see, grab our 10 millimeter so I can kind of get these just started. Like that. And on this one over here, as you saw, the gasket like to slip out on me, so I've just got to go through, slide it back down in place to make sure she lines up as she's supposed to. And once I've got it in there correctly, go through and kind of do the same thing I done here. Just gently start it. Make sure that you don't feel like any kind of cross threading or anything like that. If you do, immediately stop. You don't want to keep pushing it, because you're going to have a lot more problems on your hands than you want. So anyways, like I said, I just want to kind of get on here and just kind of give a quick how-to. With this bolt kit on here for the ARP, you're looking at part number 1343201. That's for the LS1, 2, and the hex head water pump bolts. So, all right, well, I appreciate it, and more videos to come. Thanks.